I had a revelation about a month ago, which is like the most important revelation of all. It was summer 1977. I was in Boston. I didn't want to come back to New York. But David and Lucinda were getting married. I just didn't want to come back to New York. But we were living at 77. No, we were living at 215 East 68th Street. And so they were having a party. They're having some sort of a party on. Anyway, I came back and I had to go to California. I had to go for their engagement party. I believe they were living in Westwood. And I had to stay with Lucinda and David, and I didn't want to. Because David is like the raping brother. Creepazoid, touching me. He was sadomasochistic. And nobody would believe me. Sorry, who could I tell? Was I going to tell somebody in the family? Of course not. So I went down the street to the New York hospital. And I told them I was so scared and so depressed and so sad, and my mother had died. Nobody listened, but so flew to California. And I literally spent like a week sleeping on their sofa. I'm sure they thought I was a miserable guest, but I was so sad. Anyway, came back. And then we all had to, there's the wedding, and, or maybe actually, no, I wasn't, no, actually, let me be more specific. It wasn't Boston. I was in Freeport, Grand Bahama Island. Because I was so tan. That's right. Freeport, Grand Bahama Island. And then we had the wedding. Beautiful wedding. Everybody's, I remember Charlotte said, she made a comment about, that ass is always going to be a problem. She criticized Lucinda's ass and her thighs. Those thighs were always going to be a problem. And for her whole life, she made fun of Lucinda's ass and thighs. Didn't make fun, was mean. Lucinda had this beautiful, Jennifer Lopez body, and made it a battleground in the family. She's just jealous of Lucinda. Anyway. And there was this wedding. It was beautiful, and David was so happy. Anyway. How could I tell anybody what had really happened? How could I tell anybody what had really happened? I always had to act like everything was okay, and but yeah, actually, I do have it accurate. I was in Grand Bahama, and I was living in Boston. That's right, because I had that crush on Randy Sod. That's right. And then I went back down to the hospital. I was so depressed, and that guy Richard jumped out of the window. A patient at the hospital told me he was going to kill himself, and he did. He killed himself. He jumped out of the 10th floor of his office building. That was so horrible. His wife Odette. He was gay, and he didn't know how to tell his wife, and he was having affairs in Florida and with some man, and I thought he was gay. I didn't know Odette was his wife. I thought, anyway, he was having an affair with a man in the Bahamas, and he couldn't tell his wife Odette, and his son was getting married, and instead of going to his son's wedding, he jumped out of his office window. That was so horrible. I collected money to plant some trees in Israel in his name. That was so horrifying. And I remember Michael McDonald's song Real Love was popular at that time. And oh my God, it was such agony. And I just couldn't go back to being with Charlotte. Charlotte was so mean. She's always so mean. She acted nice, but secretly she was mean. I'd rather be in the hospital than be near any of them. And then I finally got to a place where people didn't hurt me. That's when I met Dr. Tuckle and Lyle and Max and Evelyn. And it might have been the only safe place I ever had in my life. You know. For people, yeah, unbelievably. It was like a convalescent home. Nobody was on psychiatric drugs. Those were the days where they just, talk to you about what was wrong. And David should have been arrested. He should have been arrested. He should have been arrested. I have spent a lifetime keeping a secret and paying a high price. And he says it happened once. It didn't happen once, David. It happened in the car in the Hamptons. It happened in your apartment in New York on 56th Street. It happened in the car in the Hamptons. In New York, it happened. Gary was smart enough to walk out. But you took me to an apartment where there were those other people, Marlo and Michael. You passed me around like a little piece of garbage. Like a little trick-or-treat whore. You're a bad person. I remember just being out at Summer House in the Hamptons making out with me in a car like I was your little piece of shit, little sister whore. Happened multiple times, David. You're a heroin addict. Victoria dying in your bed. You don't even remember the fucking details. You were so sadistic. You're so crazy. Yeah. And then you spent decades intimidating me and threatening me. Yeah. I could never forgive myself for my silence. Thank God Lucinda's dead. Poor Lucinda, after a brain tumor, she asked me what it was like to have sex with you. Oh my God. Your wife, your mother knew, your mother who admitted she fucked her way to the top. Oh my God. What happened in your household? I mean, Richard had, what was her name? Her name was Kaylee. Ailey. Or when you got married, Richard was with a poet. I don't know how many times Richard's been married. 2 times, 3 times? And Paul with Karen, who was living with Jim Fix when she was a runaway teen. Ed Schiff family is one crazy family. What happened to Ed Schiff that all his sons had these weird relationships with women? I don't know, but didn't have the right to hurt me, David. And even worse, that my own father went along with it. And Bennett Johnson. Your own daughter says some pretty terrible things about you. I'm not surprised this happened at all. Not surprised.